instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod. Well, here we go with another episode of the Flagstick Podcast with myself, Jeff Potter, and of course, Scott McLeod. Sponsored again this week by Adidas. Adidas introduces the Ultimate 365 Tour Heat Apparel and ZG23 footwear. The collection features a mix of silhouettes for men and women, featuring heat-ready and no-show technology to keep golfers cool and dry so they can perform their very best. Both the ZG23 Vent and Ultimate 365 Tour are available now on adidas.ca, the Adidas app, and selected retailers worldwide. Just getting out of the way there, we want you to follow us on all of our social media networks. We want you to do that. Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok. Subscribe to us on Spotify, Audible, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts, or wherever you download your podcasts. You can get us there. We really do encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like us, and click the notification bell to make sure you never miss a single episode. Wow.
Yeah. Get lots of content coming. So
yeah, well, it's and you'd think not because we're winding down.
Yeah,
but somehow the pile of content just keeps growing and growing. It doesn't seem to be slowing down, though. You know, the season is kind of winding down now. We know that.
Well, yeah, I mean, Canadian season is, but I mean, as far as up here, but we've got a lot of tournaments and stuff going on. We've got a lot of, news related to things that are maybe happening going into next year. Canadians playing in college university golf has been insane the last couple of weeks because obviously they're getting back to play. So we've been covering a lot of that over on X. And then trying to assemble some more video content for the YouTube channel and for our other social platforms in the next little while. So got a lot of irons in the fire for that stuff. So,
for lack of a better cliche, right?
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of irons in the fire.
Yeah. What else we got going on this week? I know right now, before we get to our little small talk, right now, as we're recording this, the Ryder Cup opening ceremonies is going on, and I could care less about the opening ceremonies.
Great. That's awesome. I mean, I guess, if you're really into it, the opening ceremonies are a part of it, but
I guess.
I mean realistically, I bet you if you even ask the players if they'd rather just skip the opening ceremonies and go right to the golf, nobody cares about the opening ceremonies or the closing ceremonies. The only thing they care about is getting to the first tee, playing some golf, chilling at night, finishing this thing off, and hoisting a trophy at the end of the thing, and drinking and carrying on and having a good time, and nobody cares about.
There you go. That's pretty much it. So I mean, we'll get to it. But yeah, I mean, opening ceremonies, I don't know. I mean, if people love opening ceremonies, hey, I'd love to hear from you and why.
Well, it ain't the Olympics.
Well, no, I mean,
not that extravagant.
No. And I mean, just from what I'm seeing for people on social mentioning it, there's, Italian flybys as far as their jets. There's some, Italian singers or whatever. I mean, it's great. They get to celebrate the country and they get to host as far as Italy. But, I'm sure sitting there watching Zach Johnson pronounce the name of, Italian diplomats in his speech is probably not all the most thrilling stuff. So, anyways, whatever.
It's happening.
It's happening. It's not for me, but hey, if it's for you, I'm not going to criticize it. So
exactly. Who are we to judge?
You got it. So what do we got going on this week?
Well, let me tell you. I'm not going to lead in with the whole idea of we got a great show going on. It's some good stuff. We are going to obviously get you caught up as much as we can get you caught up on the latest news and stuff. We're going to talk about the Ping Challenge Cup because when we're speaking of Ryder Cup, of course, yeah.
Hey! I'm the underdog here.
Oh God, Here we go. We're going to talk about the Ping Challenge Cup, which is basically around here, sort of our version of the Ryder Cup. We get excited about that. Probably
PGA
more
of
excited, excited about our opening ceremonies or the lack thereof. We're also going to take another trip out to the lesson tee with Kevin and Jake Haime, learn a little something, we hope. And on the back nine, we're going to get talking about the Ryder Cup. It is happening this week as we're talking here. The opening ceremonies might be happening, but the Ryder Cup is going to be kicking off Friday,
1:35 a.m. Friday morning.
I can't say that I'm going to be up watching it live. I want to, I do, but I got so much going on this weekend, especially, that I'm probably going to have to watch it on the delay. And that's fine. I'm still going to get to see it.
Yeah, for sure.
I did the same thing with the Solheim Cup last week. So, I mean, it was not quite as early, but anyway, it's all good.
Yeah.
So that's about what's going to be happening on the show this week. So,
all right,
let's get after it. Front Nine, presented by Metcalf Golf Club. Natural setting, a pleasant challenge. Golf season is well underway and closing soon. Not too soon, obviously, but
got some time.
You still have lots of time to save on what golf you play between now and the snow flying. You have time to get a membership for next year.
Yep.
So you might want to jump on that because memberships do sell out quick. Purchase your game packs and get ready to hit the tee, saving some bucks. Visit metcalfgolf.com to shop for those now. All right.
You got it.
Let's get into getting people updated, caught up, however you want to put it. OVGA Tournament of Champions, both the men and women, held at Highland, Scott. And always a good event. Always a good event to crown the champions of the champions.
You got it.
And what do we say about how many? 127?
Yeah, it was 64 and 63. So good turnout. They can take up to 100.
It's a lot of golfers.
Yeah, it's a decent turnout. The men played on Monday and the ladies played on Tuesday. And congratulations to all the winners there. I'll do the women's winners if you want to do the men's. How's that? Sure. Diane Mansfield, Rebecca Kiesebrink. Okay, and this one. I'm
glad you're doing the women's.
I was literally, and I apologize in advance, and I literally went to a glossary page for pronunciations for Dutch names, and not even close. I'm not going to try. All I know is it's Renee Bast Cured. A TJ to start the last is basically a CH sound, I have been told. So yeah, anyways. And Diane Dolan, who won the senior title, that's her fourth time she's won that title, and she also won it last year, so she's a repeat winner.
Well, I got you on the men's there. Tyler Stone, Brian Ariel, Clifford Bly, and Perry Frida.
Oh, that was tough, eh?
Man, I congratulations to all the winners of the Tournament of Champions. Always nice to be a champion, and then always nice to be a champion of the champions.
Yeah, for sure. And there was a bunch of playoffs in there too, which is always fun. I think one of them went, or was a couple that went at least 3 holes. So some good stuff there. And hopefully, they enjoyed Highlands, and we're looking forward to seeing Highlands on Monday.
Now we had some Eastern Ontario golfers have some strong showings at Golf Canada's Next Gen Fall Series Championship in Quebec.
Yeah, that was just last week, led by Chase Durham, 14-year-old out of Royal Ottawa. It's a name we're getting to be very familiar with. He's also in the contention right now at the Super Camp Tour Championship for Golf Ontario, but he won the boys division. He's just 14, so an absolute little stud. He's really making some things happen. So, and then we had top 10 finishes by Xinyao Zhang, Avery Nordman, and Antonio Ho on the girls' side. That was T4, T4, and T9, and then top 10s as well on the boys' side, in addition to Jerome Chase, Ben Sheridan, and Atlas Ibbett were in the top 10 as well. So decent showing for the OVGA kids in that event, which is pretty big. I mean, those next gen series are sort of national ranking points, and definitely a big tournament. So nice showing for the OVGA kids.
Nice. Some really good news coming out of the Brockville Country Club. That they have been selected to host the 2024 Ontario Senior Men's Amateur Championship there. And just to note that Brockville has also hosted the Ontario Junior Girls Championship in 2021 and Future Links in 2017.
Yeah.
And for all those hockey hockey stars out there, hockey aficionados. Larry Robinson, former Montreal Canadiens star, will
Yep.
be the honorary chair for that event.
He
So
will. We've known about this one for a little while, but they finally made it official, so we can finally obviously announce it. We have full details of that up at flagstick.com as always.
we do indeed. Some feel good stuff.
Yeah.
Some money, some big bucks were raised for Chio.
Yeah.
Why don't you kind of fill us in on that a little bit?
Just got the final numbers for that. Obviously, Matt Robinson has been running his chip in for Chio for a fairly long time when he was working at Rideau. Now has his driving range there in Manotick, and his daughters are actually running it now. They've taken over kind of running it, which is great. I mean, they're the reason behind this event in the first place. There were some difficulties at the time they were born, and the Robinson family had to deal a lot, with Chio, and obviously wanted to give back, and they've continually given back for many years. And they were proud to announce this morning, I heard that they had raised $30,294 for the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario.
Nice.
Which fantastic. So kudos to them for that. Big clap for that.
Very nice. Golf Canada has named the representatives, the players who will represent the World Amateur Team Championships in Abu Dhabi in October.
Yep. You got it.
And some notable names there, Scott. I mean, a lot of these names we're quite familiar with, but maybe some people that listen to the show aren't really that familiar with. So, who do we have on that's going to be representing Golf Canada?
Yeah, if you follow us on social, obviously we do a lot of work following all the Canadians as they play college golf. So these names will be familiar if you're among the 17,000 people that follow us over there. But Ashton McCullough from Kingston, who plays at Michigan State, Brady McKinley, who is at Utah Valley State, Pearson Hunt, who actually plays for Illinois, and originally from Calgary, but lives down in the States now. And a proud uncle, Barry Forth, who is the owner-operator over at Copetown Woods. Proud to see that one. And then on the girls' side, it'll be Lauren Kim, who's going to be headed to the University of Texas at Austin. Monet Chun, who's at Michigan, and Katie Cranston as well. So a great team there. That should be a quality showing. Canada's had a good history in that event, and that six there should put up a nice showing, I think.
Nice. Now Canada's also named a PanAm golf team for Chile 2023 as well, right?
Yeah, PanAm Games is interesting because it's it's not, even though it's Pan American Games, it's not necessarily amateur, so pros can compete in this. And in fact, they've selected 4 pros to be part of the team. Difficult part with it always is that it's just scheduling. So sometimes players, they have to drop out. They might be awarded a spot. In this case, I think Roger Sloan was up for the men's, but conflicts with things like Q schools and tournaments and whatever. But the 4 that are going to represent Canada in November down in Chile are Selena Costabile and Elena Sharp, longtime veteran, playing fantastic this year on the Epson Tour.
She is.
She's 12th right now in the overall standings. Miles Creighton from Digby, Nova Scotia, and then Etienne Papineau, who's put together a heck of a year and actually has status for the Corn Ferry Tour for next year. So that'll take place November 2nd to 5th at the Prince of Wales Country Club in Santiago, Chile.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, all right. Lots going on.
There is a ton going on. We do have, as we kind of mentioned off the top there, about the Ryder Cup. But before, we talk about the Ryder Cup, which is, I guess it's a little bit bigger event than the Ping Challenge Cup.
Just a
little bit. But next, Monday, October 2nd, at the Highlands Golf Club, will be the Ping Challenge Cup, which, for those who haven't been listening, is a Ryder Cup style match play team competition that takes place between the Ottawa's own PGA of Ottawa professionals and assistant professionals, teams that are captained by This guy over here is the assistant pros, and this guy who captains the head pros, who have won 7.
And these captain's roles, I mean, they are very critical to the outcome of the
extremely
event.
Critical. I mean, it's very hard to write down the pairings that the players want. That does take some time.
Before we get to it too much, what do you think the over under is on the number of cups of coffee we have drank
the over under
during this dozen years of competition, minus last year, which of course I was playing and you weren't around because there was somebody was sick at your house. So, but if you take the other 11. It's a lot of coffee. These are long days, right?
They are long days, and they usually start out pretty chilly because it is October. And I mean, as anybody in this Eastern Ontario recognizes,
my hand warmer is ready from last year. That was one of the player gifts last year. Is the hand warmer. So
doesn't the captain get a player gift?
Yeah, you weren't there.
Oh, but I didn't get one.
I talked on
Andre. I know. Listen. I'm telling you right now. I know that Andre is listening to this show.
All right, Andre,
because he always does. Because he always sends me some email after texting. I want the ping hand warmers for this year.
I think you have to earn a point as a player to get.
I earned all I need to earn. I won. That's all that matters.
Yes,
that's all that matters. I won for doing nothing.
The trophy. You do have the trophy.
It's right there. The trophy. I should go over and get the trophy and put it like right on display so everybody can see it. But anyway.
Yes. So the matches as they are, there's 7-5 head pros versus the assistant pros.
Very close.
It has been close.
Some of the years it hasn't been close, but
no.
Overall, 7-5 for the HPs.
Yeah.
So I got a couple of years to play with as far as not having to admit that we're either losing or tied.
Yeah.
That's some buffer room.
And it's fun. I mean, here's the thing.
It is.
This is how the teams are selected. People should know, and we're going to get to it in a minute who's on the teams. But basically, players earn points during the year on the Flagstick.com PGA Tour and PGA of Ottawa Tour. And then basically, there's a couple of Ping Cup picks as well, or ping picks as well, that Andre gets to do to add in the mix. So that's how we end up with our players on both sides. We do have ladies that are playing, so we have mandatory 2, right? One. Yep. So we've got 2. We got one of each side there, and we have 2 seniors as well. So this is a bit of a reward for basically playing during the year. Earning points, and this is giving you the opportunity to get on the team. So it's a fun day. Like I said, it's the reward, but we always end up with fun matches because, a lot of times head pros will be against their assistant pros. People will obviously bug us and say, hey, I want that person for a match.
We kind of got to the point where we sort of recognize they don't really reach out as much as they did initially, but it's getting to the point where I think you and I recognize who's who.
Oh, yeah.
So when we start to do the matchups and the pairings and stuff like that, we kind of
it's pretty easy
kind of know what we're going to do as far as who's going to play against who and with you. And the HP versus the AP is kind of like the sacred matches. Whenever you can get the HP to go against his AP, that's like, they want that bad.
Because they're going to have a side bet.
Of
who's going to have to do an open to close shift. Which is not fun if you haven't worked in the golf industry and you got to work open to close. Those are long days.
Exactly. So just let's bring people up to speed on the format, how we do this, because it is a little bit, it's Ryder Cup style, but it's a unique format where we do 9 holes of best ball.
Yep.
Right. 9 holes of alternate shot.
Yep.
Chapman style, which is a little modified because both players will hit a tee shot on the pairings. Both play a tee shot. They'll pick the best tee shot, and then they'll alternate in from there. That's always an interesting format when you get the alternate shot. It's a little, I think on the Ryder Cup, it's a little bit different. They don't do
it's pure alternate shot.
Pure alternate shot, which is even harder because you don't have that option of 2 tee balls to select from. But
This is a
alternate
format
shot is really interesting.
The Chapman is a format that we make use of in the zone to the Pro,
right?
And 6 of the holes are played during that format, and it can be interesting, especially if the partners vary differently as far as maybe their abilities off the tee. Somebody hits it way shorter, somebody hits it way longer. What are we going to pick and go there? It just adds a little element of strategy to it. But yeah,
and
so
then,
9
and then obviously
there,
mono a mono, head to head.
Yeah.
Match play, straight up singles matches, and that's when stuff gets interesting, because we have had it where it's been sort of like a Ryder Cup style thing where you end up with the HPs winning all the points in the first 9 or the morning, and then the singles matches in the afternoon, and then the singles matches, everything balances out, and the APs will come back, and then it's so it does get a little bit interesting, and we don't have quite the same option that the Ryder Cup has, where we can take and very specifically position singles matches later, because we're rolling through, right? We play the morning 18, and then we have lunch on the cart, and we're right back on the tee. So it's a grind. It's a grueling day too.
Yeah, I mean, the last couple of years it was played over 2 days.
Right.
We're back to the 1-day format this year. But yeah, it makes it a little bit longer, and we're obviously trying to figure out what's going on in those matches and trying to think, are we still in this? Are we gone? And we don't have the benefit of 6 vice captains or 5 vice captains running around babysitting or anything like that. So yeah,
not at all.
We just have to let the players kind of do their thing. But yeah,
exactly. I'd say we should bring radios to communicate with each other, but
we're sitting in a cart with each other.
Okay, so that's the format. And at the end of the day, someone's going to be holding the Ping Challenge Cup up and cheering. But the teams. Let's start with my guys, defending champions.
Run it down.
You're gonna recognize these names, people. I'm telling you that right now. Graham Gunn has one of the senior spots. Mark Lacombe also has one of the senior spots on the HP side. Tyler Fitzgerald from Carleton. Lee Curry.
Yeah. So already in those first 4, you've got a former European Senior Tour player and a former Corn Ferry Tour player.
So is there a point? I'm not sure I quite understand what your point is. I also have Sarah Landry representing the HPs from a ladies.
Fantastic player. Yeah.
Okay, here we're gonna keep going.
Now it's gonna get better here.
Roger Beale from Rideau View,
who played in the World Cup for Barbados.
Mike,
we're telling you, people, these are not all chops.
Mike Dagenet, who could play the senior division.
Yes,
by the way, and still hits it farther than anybody on this list.
And choose it not to. Okay, great.
Dennis Gerard.
Denny's great player.
He's an awesome golfer.
Played well in Quebec.
Jonathan Shapier.
Yep, no stranger to trophies.
Dave McDonald from the Meadows.
Former
zone champion.
Oh yeah, was definitely a zone champion. So yeah.
Derek McDonald from Whitetail.
Yep.
Who's a lefty and also bombs at a mile.
Yep.
And John Stevenson.
Gee, terrible lineup.
Who do you got, Scott? Who do you got?
Well, I have Pasquale Manquillo, who was second in the points this year in the senior division.
He also won a senior event this year.
And he won a senior event as well. He won at the Marshes.
So that's okay.
Great. Steve Hall, who's he's my other senior contender. So he great spot there. Captain's picking here, Jake Haime, one of our guys from our our lesson tee, of course. James Sperrick, who just won, shot 66 and just won the fall championship at Rideau View.
Dude can play golf.
Yeah, exactly. Another person, no stranger to trophies, Tara McEnroy from Ottawa Hunt is in there. Glad to have her on the team as well. Another stud. Now this guy would definely give Dash a go as far as length.
Trust me, I know.
And again, because you played with him earlier this year. Dan McNeely. And then we've got young gun in Stephen Venema, who is out at Lock March. Got to meet him this year. Great young guy and talented player. My pairing from last year, my partner, even though we lost our points, Sean Banfield, who's in the mix, Colin Pitchers, Taylor Lafferty, Brad Smith. Smitty's in there, which is nice to see. So that adds a
another
fun
former
element.
zone champion, huh?
Another former zone champion, and
I don't know what you're complaining about. You got two former zone champions on the team.
I'm not complaining. These are going to be great matches, and then Andy Rahathi at the lapping it up at the end. So yeah, you know what? We're going to see some good matches here.
It's going to be good. Yeah, you could just even look when we announced those. Roger Beal, Dan McNeely. If you think that that's not going to be a match in the afternoon,
you're kidding yourself.
Then you're kidding yourself, because that will 100% be a match.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be pretty easy to set up the pairings here. I don't think it's going to be that difficult. We're not going to do it on the air right now because we have a little bit of strategy and
secret ballot,
but we're going to be taking care of that off air and getting that ready. But yeah, you're right. There's some obvious matches that are there, but there's going to be some high quality golf here, and there's going to be some matches where there are a lot of birdies. That's for sure.
All right. Well, let's leave it there.
Yeah, it's
going to be fun. We'll have a little wrap up on that hopefully next week on the podcast, or do something with it. We haven't quite figured that all out yet, but we're hoping to do that. Now we're gonna jump. Dang it!
Put dollar in the swear jar. Jump is a swear.
We need to head out to the lesson tee.
There we go.
Presented by Kevin Haime Golf School. Always the right time to play better golf. Whether you need a private lesson, better short game, some putting help, or a custom club fitting, visit kevinhaime.com. And remember that better golf is a lot more fun. Let's take a trip out to the lesson tee and see what Kevin and son Jake have for us this week.
Happy Tip Tuesday, golfers. All right, Jake, back on the lesson tee. Today we're going to talk about hand placement, grip, how you set your hands on the golf club. So important to be natural and neutral so the face won't roll around and move around. What's the biggest epidemic? We see it all the time. I mean...
way too many people, when they grip a golf club, put their bottom hand so strong on that grip. You're right, very, very common.
Yeah, it's actually underneath the golf club. We call that a strong grip because if your hand is artificially under like that, as you swing, it'll roll into a natural neutral position, and it strengthens and closes the golf club. So we call it a strong grip because it de-lofts the club, right?
Yeah, if you think about it, it does make sense. If I reach out naturally, that's a nice neutral position on my arm. If I turn my hand underneath, that's not very comfortable or very powerful. So I am likely to have to fix that in my golf swing.
Yeah, I think people think it's powerful because supporting the club feels like you're holding a shovel or something heavy, you're supporting. But actually, if you do that, it causes a lot of problems in your game. I also think a lot of golfers think you should grip the club down where the hand meets the fingers. If we look a little close up here, and if you do that, it's very difficult to put the hand on properly. Where you actually want to hold that golf club is in that middle pad of your fingers. And if I hold my golf club down there, I cradle the club in my fingers, it's very easy to fold the hand over and get it in a natural position. So that's very, very important to understand where the club goes. Not by the hand or where the hand meets the fingers, but down more in the mid pad of the fingers. So I've got a lot of ability to fold the hand onto the club properly.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. It's a very simple thing you can do to gain more control over your club face and help your golf swing improve.
Remember, golfers, your only connection to the club is the hands. Think of a hinge on a door, connecting the door to the frame. If it's bent or crooked, you're going to have a very difficult time keeping that club face square all the time.
All right. Fix the strong grip. Fix the swing.
Hopefully that will propel Jake to many, many points on Monday.
Sure.
Let's go with that.
I think Jake's golf game will propel him to points. I don't know, but
I've been waiting for the panic call from a couple of people going, I haven't touched my clubs in a month.
Oh, gosh. Too bad.
Yeah.
Too bad. Boy. So sad. All right. With all that said, we got to take a quick break. And when we come back, We are going to head to the back nine and talk some Ryder Cup. So stay with us. You're listening to the Flagstick Podcast with Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod. Adidas introduces the Ultimate 365 Tour Heat Apparel and ZG23 Event footwear to help golfers handle the heat this season. Both the ZG23 Event and Ultimate 365 Tour Apparel are available now on adidas.ca, the Adidas app, and selected retailers worldwide. All right, and we are back and ready to dive into the back nine, presented by Castleview Golf Club. Only a short 25-minute drive from Ottawa, this 18-hole layout is renowned for its superb conditions and unsurpassed service, making it a must-play in the capital region. 5, 10, and 20-round packages are available, so visit castleview.com for more information. Scotty Mac.
Before we get to the Ryder Cup,
okay,
I just want to sadly say I just looked at the results from last year at the Ping Challenge Cup, and we lost 16-8. Just leave it at that. It's sad.
Yeah.
At least I got a point. It didn't mean anything.
Oh my God.
Oh boy. Anyways,
I got 16 of them.
Yeah. Blah blah. I had to earn mine. Anyways, we'll leave it at that. We'll get to the real.
It was anguishing not being there. I earned my victory. No, I didn't earn anything. Thanks to the HPs that played last year that earned that victory for me.
There you go.
Yes, we want to talk Ryder Cup. Before we just get into the Ryder Cup, I just want to quickly bounce back to last week with the Solheim Cup.
Yes.
We're not going to get into it's long past now, so us talking about it, whatever. We're not going to get into a deep conversation about it, but it should be noted. Congratulations to the European side for retaining the cup. Yes. Some very exciting matches. Yes, there was some drama at the end. Yes, some people would like to compare that drama to what happened in the Ryder Cup at Brookline many years ago. Yes, it'll be a discussion point, and that's about it. It's not going to be a discussion point on this podcast because it's a non-issue. Great matches, fitting way for it to end. As far as how it came down to the matches being tied up there, and fitting who dropped in the final putt to put the dagger in.
Yes.
And awesome. So there you go. Hopefully, let's hope for a similar type drama
for the Ryder Cup.
Cup, with not quite the same drama, but a similar level of drama.
If people want to sit there and complain about, how an event finishes, or as far as formats or whatever, please do that before they start and not after, because you don't like the result. I'll just leave that at that.
There you go. There you go.
Ryder Cup.
All right, let's talk Ryder Cup.
44th Ryder Cup.
I know. It is. I'm pumped. I'm psyched. I'm ready to go. I don't know.
Why?
I know we talked about this last week. Well, it's the Ryder Cup. I mean, it's just something about the Ryder Cup. We talked about this really quickly with the Solheim Cup and the Ryder Cup last week, and you and I have talked about this. There's just something about the Ryder Cup. I get a little bit more pumped and excited about the Ryder Cup than I do about the President's Cup, just because there's a lot more history. I think there's a lot more, I'm not going to call it hatred, because these guys hate each other for 3 days and then they love each other as soon as it's done. That's just the way it is. It's like the Stanley Cup playoffs in hockey. Right. For an entire season and through the playoffs and through the Stanley Cup finals, these guys would take each other's heads off. Sure. As soon as that's done and they're in the handshake line, they're the best of buddies and they're out having beers and dinner together. So it's just the way it is. And that's a professional athlete to be able to turn off the friendship side of it temporarily to perform in their chosen field of battle. In this case, it's a Ryder Cup battle, and it's exciting.
I think it's like, it's like playing against your buddies. You know what I mean?
Well, I hate you when we play. I mean,
right. But I mean, I think that's part of the appeal, is that a lot of people like, okay, they're used to playing matches with their buddies and they're having that sort of, rivalry and whatever, but they can, in the end, they, in most cases, they still like each other. But, I think
I
that's
still like you.
Thanks.
It's
Me
fine.
too.
It's
Me
good.
too.
It's all good.
I think that's part of the appeal a little bit of, this is like now you see lots of golf courses that have their own Ryder Cup matches and stuff like that. And it's just a little bit different because you're playing for a team. You're used to playing so much individually in this sport. Like you said, the history goes back to 1927 as far as this event, and makes it big that way. But I think match play is fun too. I mean, I think it's just, I'm not saying it has to happen every week, but I like to see matches. They're fun.
I like to see a little bit more of the match play stuff happening. It's a much harder television thing to do.
Yeah.
Like if when you're talking about a regular PGA Tour event, it's too hard to do over that kind of a weekly thing. Yeah. But I love this type of thing, this type of format. It's exciting, team format.
And it's been fairly competitive. I mean, it wasn't, obviously the last edition wasn't. The US won at 19-9. They won by 10 at Whistling Straits. But overall, the record, that doesn't even really dictate sort of what has happened. I mean, 27-14-2 all time for the US, but generally now for the last 30 years, this has been a solid rivalry, and the teams are a lot closer. The quality of players that are there, they're familiar names for the most part here. The only thing I think, and I mean, we're contributing it to a little bit, but we're not going to go crazy with it, is I think some of the buildup just drives me nuts. So watching some of the Golf Channel, and it looks obviously like they're trying to fill time this week about the topics. I mean, you can't all of a sudden, it's just golf, that's it. But they were trying to take it into Brexit and all politics and what. Whoa, just slow down. It's just a golf match, folks.
Well, we talked about that last episode with the Solheim Cup, and how the stat lines become too in depth, too specific, to the point where the specificity of what they're trying to do almost is ridiculous. Like it's a non-issue. Some of the stat
in the
lines
end, it's golf, and I mean, here's the thing: you have two teams, So as far as who can win and who can lose, it's really simple. So you can definitely overanalyze it by a lot, especially if you're, they sit there and talk to the captains about, what they're doing, and, task forces and all this stuff like this. Like it's not the end of your country or continent if you do not win this.
No, and here's the other thing: when there's a lot of drama that is happening right now too, with respect to some of the comments that Bryson DeChambeau has made, and it's like, I understand what's going on there. Probably a little more propaganda based than anything else. I mean, because, sure, Bryson won a couple of live events in the last couple of weeks. That's great. But the team was made before then anyway, and you hadn't really done anything leading up to that. So even if you were getting ranking points throughout the live season, would you have gotten enough ranking points to maintain a position or even be considered as a captain's pick? Brooks earned his way on. What Brooks did was Brooks put the whole live PGA Tour conversation aside. And he performed, and got his spot on the U.S. team, despite all of the bickering back and forth and the points and the world rankings and all that. He did that despite all of that. He earned a spot, deservedly so. End of conversation. Nobody else on live earned a position on the team via points or via
captain's pick.
Or whatever. They do have, from what I understand, Zach Johnson and the group, they do have a separate sort of Ryder Cup ranking that they do, where I'm sure that they probably take what world ranking points would have maybe been awarded to somebody playing live, and do some calculations and spreadsheets. They know where these people would have fit in had they been actually given world ranking points during the season for live and not PGA Tour. So they still know where they would have fit. Say, you know what, that guy would have still been, sixth in world ranking points had he gotten points for live. They know that already. So I don't see any of that as an issue. I see
No,
it as a
and
non-issue.
the other side of it too is, and we talked about it a little bit, is just it's the chemistry in the room as well.
Yeah.
You've got to have good chemistry in the room, and you've got to do things that are going to be good for the team. So when you're making your picks, it's players that fit with other players. It's players that are maybe not going to distract the team, because all of a sudden there's all sorts of media questions or scrutiny that's happening, or the thing is, you're trying to do everything you can to win, which means you have to streamline things. You have to do all the things that make it as easy as possible for those 12 players to play as well as they can
for sure
for those 3 days, and not have extra things to talk about. And here's the great part: Brooks has not made it about him. You know what I mean? He's been very quiet about what he said. He's been very vocal with a few things about some players wanting to be the guy to make the winning putt and be in the match or whatever, but nothing untoward as far as the other players. Nothing that's going to make him a liability in any possible way.
No, I agree with you. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the Ryder Cup. Let's talk about the course for a second. The Marco Simone course also hosts the Italian Open.
Yeah, it's hosted a number of them. So European players are pretty familiar with this layout, a modern layout.
Now you got some inside info on the golf course a little bit. So do tell your intel. Do tell.
Yeah, so I was going back and forth with one of the turf heads from Canada here, who was on the grounds there in Italy. So we were going back and forth this week about a few things, and he was talking to a couple of the caddies. At that point, early in the week, greens were fairly slow. The greens are fairly severe here, and the players have noted that they're slow. The one caddy mentioned to him that he figured it was 9 to 9.5 for green speed, which obviously is very slow compared to kind of 11 that you'd see on tour. And then he talked to somebody on the grounds crew. They had it at 3.4 millimeters. So if your turf heads know what that is as far as the greens height or whatever, it's fairly slow. Obviously, as the week goes on, they're expecting to dry out and speed up a little bit, but not a crazy amount. And that's sort of necessary for, again, the severity of these greens. And, that might be a little bit of a play as well by Captain Luke Donald in having the ability to do the course setup. And, I'm not saying European Tour players are used to playing slower greens, but, if you're used to playing on links courses or things
greens
like that.
Greens are just generally slower on links.
Generally slower. Yeah. And we should note that obviously most of the players that are on the European team do play in the US, but a whole bunch of them don't as well. So that may play into it a little bit. As far as that, maybe things won't get away from you. We won't see some tricky stuff like, the European Tour saw at Le Golf National, last week when a player putted off the green, which is, so who knows? But yeah, let's just say as far as from the course standpoint, I think it's a cool golf course. It's got some elevation, some great views. It's good from a spectator standpoint. Obviously, if you saw today, and I don't know if you did, be it Victor Hovland, he was 3 off the tee. He had hit an iron already.
Yes, he had on a par 4 there.
Short par 4. He holed out his second shot, and when he went for it with the driver. So they've got some opportunities on this golf course, but it's a difficult golf course. Players that I've talked to that have played it, Canada's Aaron Cockrell, for an example. Yeah, he's played the Italian Open and said, it's a difficult golf course, and he got prepared for it by playing it on TrackMan because it's actually on TrackMan. So a lot of people this week that they're probably more familiar with this golf course, maybe if they played it at an indoor sim.
So have you played it yet then?
I have. Yeah, it's actually been out, and my plan, we'll get to it, my plan is to watch in the sim, watch the golf on TV, and maybe play the golf course at the same time.
Just not fair.
Yeah,
not fair.
That sounds really, yeah.
I wonder if a good buddy. No, I was going to say I wonder if Andy McWilliams would do that, but he's actually in
he's in Ireland.
Ireland, so I don't think he'll be doing it. I wonder if I get the keys.
I was going to say you should have left you a key for the
Celtic keys. Andy, if you're listening over in Ireland, any chance I can get the keys for a little Ryder Cup showdown at Celtic Golf Center in Kemptville? I promise to lock it behind me and not touch anything in the fridge.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Okay, let's Scott, let's get to the teams just quickly. The US will have Sam Burns.
Yep.
Patrick Cantley.
Yep.
Wyndham Clark.
Yep.
Brian Harman. I like this. Harman. I know he earned a spot and everything.
He's playing well this
Yeah.
week already. That's the word on the street, that he's been hitting it fantastic. So I'm not surprised by that.
Ricky Fowler. Love this. Love having him on this team. Max Homa, obviously. Brooks Koepka. Colin Morikawa. Xander Schauffele.
Yep.
Jordan Spieth. Scotty Scheffler. And Justin Thomas.
Yeah.
Controversial captain's pick, Justin Thomas, but how'd that work out last week at the Solheim Cup when everybody was comparing, including myself, comparing the Justin Thomas captain's pick to the Lexi Thompson captain's pick, and I think she fared out just fine as far as
surprisingly.
Yes. So maybe Justin Thomas does something similar. The European team's made up of, like, I know there's some players. I'll let you go through the European team,
sure.
But I know there's some players on there that people will not recognize. I did familiarize myself a little bit more with the European team by watching more your DP World Tour golf in the last few weeks. So I would know who some of these players were. So go through the European team. And
so guy who was actually at Texas Tech only a few months ago, but is playing Ludvig Åberg. So it's Åberg, apparently, Swedish player. He's probably got the best golf swing on this team. He's the rookie to watch. Unbelievable. So don't be shocked by his play at all. Great golf swing to watch. Matt Fitzpatrick, Tommy Fleetwood, Tyrrell Hatton, Nikolai Hogard, his brother Rasmus is helping out, another 21-year-old. And his brother's helping out with the team this week. Either or could have made the team. Victor Hovland, who a lot of people are obviously paying attention to, one of the best players in the world right now, actually number 4 ranked player in the world. Then they also have number 2 and number 3 in the world, Rory McIlroy and John Rahm, Justin Rose, Shane Lowry, Robert McIntyre, and Sepp Straka. I think I got everyone in there. Yeah, so I went a little bit out of order there, but again, a fantastic team's going to match up really, really well. Got a good mix of both experience and also some young guys that really can get it done from a playing standpoint. But anybody stand out for you? First off, who do you think the strong players are going to be?
No, I mean, you know what? This is a little different for me, because I'm looking at this and I'm saying, I know we want to talk about strong players, weak players. I mean, obviously on the European team side, Rory McIlroy has is always strong. I mean, it was interesting. I know he doesn't always have a great 4 rounds,
right?
But the one thing that I've noticed with Rory throughout the season is somehow, no matter what, somehow he always seems to be on the first page of the leaderboard.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, there was a DP World Tour event that I watched. I think it was not maybe last week, but the week before.
BMW Championship.
Yeah. And he was dead to rights. Like, he was missing the cut.
Yeah.
And playing like garbage as far as I was concerned, like the way he was hitting it in the water, bogey and this, bogey. Somehow he makes the cut.
Yeah.
And I said to my son Brandon, I said, I swear to God, come Sunday, he's going to be in contention. And sure enough, he did back up a little bit more on Sunday, but he put himself in contention to win after barely making the cut on the number.
Yeah.
And then went lights out. And I think he shot 65 on Saturday or 64 on Saturday, played himself right under the first page of the leaderboard, a few shots off the lead. Leaders started backing up. Next thing you know, Rory McIlroy is, a shot back. And so
he's number 2 in the world for a reason, and was number 1 at the end of 22.
I think the European team, to be honest with you, with McIlroy, Rahm, Fleetwood, Fitzpatrick, Hovland.
On a run. I mean, Hovland's been on such a tear. I mean, he was number 10 in the world at the end of 2022 and then worked his way up now, like I said, to number 4. And, obviously got a couple of wins there in the PGA Tour playoffs. Dude is riding high with confidence.
If anybody thinks that somehow you're delusional and think that the U.S. team is the favorite, you're delusional. They're not, and I don't care how the captains spin it.
Yeah.
The U.S. team in this Ryder Cup is the underdog. They haven't won on foreign soil in
30 years.
30, like that's a long time to not win on foreign soil.
Yeah, but
and they are not the favorite, as far as the players go, they are not the team that's should be favored to win. So
I kind of look at this as a basketball game that goes 156 to 152. You know what I mean? It's like it's two super talented teams. So even if a player or a team loses or a player loses in a match, there's going to be some quality golf. It's not like we've got stinkers here. You're obviously on occasion you're going to get somebody's going to have a blowout. It's just going to happen, but I wouldn't suspect that you're going to see a lot of blowouts here this week. These are going to be a lot of highly competitive matches, which frankly is great for the Ryder Cup, great for golf spectators. And, in the end, the result might not really, as far as the number, as far as the points, might not really show the quality of the golf that was actually played during the week.
So, Scott, why does the U.S. team have such a difficult time, or why have they had such a difficult time winning overseas? Like, what is the problem? Because and even in the U.S., I think they're like, what's the record? 4-3 in the last 7.
Yeah.
Like, is that, I'm trying to think. I think,
I don't know.
It's not,
I don't know off the top of my head, but yeah.
It's not like that they're undefeated on home soil either. Like, what is it?
Well, obviously they won convincingly at Whistling Straits. So, as far as
but that's here
over there,
why?
I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. The thing is, with really close margins, everything matters. So that means right from the start. I mean, if you get intimidated by, which they shouldn't, as far as spectators and stuff like that, the moment or whatever the case, I think part of it is that there's so much expectation on the US to win from media, from fans, from otherwise, that when players go in there, they feel like they're expected to win. Whereas when Europe goes in there, those players, and I can't speak for all of them, but I know, having witnessed, conversations and press conferences and so forth, they've got nothing to lose. They don't feel like they're the favorite. So the thing is, it's that mentality of, hey, you know what? I'd rather start 2 strokes behind, and I'm not the golden child that I'm expected to win. So the thing is that with that underdog mentality, you just do your thing, right? Whereas you're not trying to protect it. I know,
they're
but
they're not the underdogs on home soil. What I'm saying is that when it comes to playing in Europe, the European team plays well on home ice. Home turf, right?
Sure.
The US is kind of 50-50 on home turf.
Yeah.
Give or take. So I'm not saying that there's anything to read into anything other than it's just golf year by year, and one team's better than the other, and it's got nothing to do with home soil or not. And I'm thinking that really is the case. I'm thinking that really is the case. Yeah. But you're right in the sense that the Americans going into every Ryder Cup and every President's Cup are expected to win, no matter where it is, in Europe or in the U.S. So if they're expected to win in U.S., it's probably easier to win as expected when everybody's cheering for you. Whereas when you go over to Europe and you're expected to win and nobody's cheering for you.
Right. Yeah. And then
it becomes harder.
And let's say if the last 43 Ryder Cups were played in the last 43 days, this all might be relevant. But, again, we're talking about totally different teams and totally different situations. So it's a game by game sort of things, and also at different venues. You can't blame it on that. It's a different thing. And I mean,
but it's the storyline that everybody wants to talk about.
It is
on the various sports channels and stuff. They want to talk about the fact that the Americans can't win in Europe.
Well, they can talk about it all they want, whether it's legit or not is the other story. So, I mean, I don't think it's really relevant as far as that. I mean, the only thing that's relevant is what's happening now and what's happening, this week. And that's really what it comes down to. And really, I mean, even when you look back at it, the fact that the US won by 10 last time really doesn't have a lot of relevance to do with what's going to happen this week.
No. No,
So
not at all.
in the end, I think we get guilty of it too. Maybe start to overanalyze it. That's why I've sort of stayed away from a lot of the overanalysis. I just want to see how it plays out.
To think that I'm actually not.
No, no,
I don't think
no,
we're guilty of anything. I mean, I don't think we're guilty of it all. I think if anything, we're guilty of doing the exact opposite.
Yeah.
I really don't care what the stat line is. I don't really care who's hits more greens in regulation. Now, when you're pairing guys together as a captain, not that we do it for the Ping Challenge Cup because we don't, but if you're pairing guys together for an alternate shot or something like that, you might look at a guy's stats or his game and say, okay, here's a guy that hits 80% or 90% of the fairways. I'm going to pair him with a guy that hits 25% of the fairways. I mean, there's some truth to those kinds of statistics where somebody's strength of their game is hitting it in fairways. I mean, how many scrambles and stuff have you and I played together where I'm always the one that hits first? Well, why is that? Well, number one, you hit it 400 yards and I hit it 250, but I also hit it dead straight almost every time. I barely miss a fairway, and if I do, it's not by much. So do you not want that player paired with someone who can bomb it? Because it takes that, it's a confidence thing. Oh, we're already in play 260, 270 off the tee. Now we can just launch it and we're not in any worse position.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things to be said for that. One, they have to turn over every rock because they want to win. So they actually, and they have the option of having the data and stuff that's available now. And then on the other side of it, they're making sure to do that so that the fact is when the team loses, they can sit there and say and defend it and say, you know what, hey, we looked at the stats, this is why we did it. So it's part of it that way. But all right, so what matches, if you had single matches, and we just pick a couple, we don't have to go through all of them, whatever, but what singles matches would you like to see? What player would you like to see stacked up against another player coming?
I want to see McIlroy playing against Koepka.
Yes, 100%. That was on my list.
I would like to see God, I don't know. I'm trying to think where I kind of fit Aberg in because I watched this guy play over the last 3 weeks.
So talented.
He's so good. And he hits it so far. He's a tall guy. So
and it's such a 185 ball speed with a super smooth swing.
It's insane. It's so, the tempo is so beautiful. I don't know who I'd want to see him play against it, like where these two guys with these beautiful swings, because nobody on the US side, maybe against Morikawa, similar sort of buttery smooth golf, but Morikawa doesn't hit it anywhere compared to this guy.
But I would like to see him maybe go against Scheffler. Scheffler's number one in the world.
Yeah, that would be an interesting. That'd be
take a young guy who was at Texas Tech. He was in. He hasn't even finished his degree yet, and throw him against Scheffler. I mean, that could be really interesting. Sure.
What about something like Harmon versus Fleetwood?
Yeah, a little more.
There's not as much drama. Like Harmon's kind of like one of those guys. It's like, I don't know who you put him against. It's going to be like, I'd like to see how he does against that guy.
I think he put him against Hatton because then he'll just frustrate the hell out of Hatton.
That's true.
That could be fun to watch just for the sake of entertainment.
That's true. Who would you have Fowler go up against?
Ooh, Fowler. I mean, he's such a good dude. I think he'd want a fun match. I think maybe Rosie or Lowry, something like that. One match that I'm looking at that I might be entertaining would be Homa Hovland. I think that would have some entertainment.
Really?
Value. I think so. I think they're both popular guys. I think they're just very, while they're very exact as far as how they play, I think they still play very carefree. And I think that could be entertaining. And I'm saying it's going to be a great match. I'm just saying from a viewing standpoint, it could be fun to watch.
What about Rahm? What about Rambo? Fiery Spaniard. I mean, how do you who if you're the US do you want to pair against that guy?
I think Rahm, Spieth, two guys that be talking to themselves all day long.
God, I don't know if that's boring.
And again, I don't know. Again, we're not not saying one guy's gonna
I don't think it matters
kick
really.
the ass of anyone else. It's just more from an interest standpoint to see the players that are. I mean, there's definitely some players here that are a little bit more, clinical in how they play.
Maybe
Harmon,
Koepka Rahm.
Cantley, Koepka Rahm could be really good. Yeah, for sure. I mean, these are, again, two heavy hitters as far as guys that have been at the top of the pyramid and won majors. So, that could be good that way.
Okay.
Maybe McIntyre you put against Harmon. Maybe the two lefties go against each other. I don't know.
It's interesting because then they see the putts from the same side. They, you know what I mean? Like if they happen to be in a position where they're looking at each other's putts. But I mean,
I would have a hard time, I think, if I'm Luke Donald trying to position where Straka is going to go, or Højgaard or McIntyre. Where do they fit against the other players? I'm going to guess they're going to be out early on Sunday.
Probably with like Burns or Cantley.
Maybe. I mean, Burns was, he was tearing it up last year, and but I think he's cooled off a little bit of late. But yeah, you're right. That could be those could be the mixes there. So I mean, who do you think is going to be the weaknesses for these two sides? And again, this is the shot in the dark.
Well, I think the aforementioned what you're talking about. I think when you look at someone like Sepp Straka, or maybe McIntyre, Højgaard on the European side, and we're splitting hairs when we talk about weak here. Sure. Same thing on the U.S. side. I think Thomas is still going to be a big question mark. I think Cantley is going to be a bit of a question mark, and I think that Burns might be a bit of a question mark. I'm not putting question marks on too many of the other ones. Spieth, I'm not 100% sure what to expect there. I know he earned a spot. But
I don't think he knows what to expect.
Yeah, he's kind of like a who knows what to expect kind of guy. Yeah. But again, I mean, we're talking about 12 guys on each team that earned a spot, whether via their play or by even being close to earning a spot and being captain's picks. Yeah. These guys, they're not terrible.
No, they're still among some of the best players in the world for sure. So
exactly. So I'm.
So who are you cheering for?
I'm not. I mean, this is kind of like the Solheim Cup thing. I'm not cheering for any one team in particular. I would love to and probably will wake up early Sunday morning, or have a nap Saturday night and wake up and at midnight and just stay up and watch, knowing that they're tied going into the final day, or there's 1 or 2 points difference or something like that. I do not want, like I did not want with the Solheim Cup, somebody like the way it started out. I didn't want to see that be the way. I didn't want someone to have a 5 or 6 point lead going into the Sunday singles, because at that point you're just like, okay, we're shooting for miracles here, and I didn't want to see that.
We want to battle for all 28 points.
I'd love to see it come down to the 18th hole with the final match, or at least have it come down to the final match. Inevitably it doesn't, but I'd love to see that happen. But that's just wishful thinking for the drama of sport, right? We want we want to see that, unless it's our team, and then in which case we want to see it over after the second day.
Yeah, I'd love to see just a lot of matches that are a lot of birdies, a lot of action, and no blowouts. And I'm good with that. There's too many quality players here. I always lean a little bit towards the European side, but again, whoever makes it happen, makes it happen.
Exactly. Okay. So there you have it, folks. You have our Ryder Cup analysis, or lack of analysis. Call it the Ryder Cup lack of analysis discussion. Just two guys with two mics chatting about the Ryder Cup. Should be fun. I'm sure everybody will enjoy it. Tune into it. Enjoy it. We'll talk about it the next time we get together on the podcast. So
sounds good.
That's about all we got for this week. Reminder that we have free Flagstick Digest newsletter that you can sign up for at flagstick.com, with news information and more directed
might even be a contest. Might even be a contest.
Oh my gosh,
coming soon.
Yes. What is that you got there, Scott?
That is a Xander Schauffele signed Adidas cap.
And
just
we're gonna give that away.
We are going to give that away. So, but you got to sign up for the newsletter. For that, we're going to have some stuff posted on our social, but otherwise just go to flagstick.com and we'll do that draw probably in a couple of weeks.
Exactly. We will announce the details of that through social and through the podcast. But just so you know, there's the hat. That's a signature. That guy's on the Ryder Cup team, and that hat's going to be given away to somebody. But you have to sign up for the Flagstick Digest newsletter to even be considered for the possibility of winning that hat. So head over to flagstick.com and sign up for the newsletter. It's free. You'll like it. We know you will. All right. That's a wrap. Want to thank our sponsors, Metcalf Golf Club, Castleview Golf Club, Kevin Haime Golf School, and our presenting sponsor, of course, Adidas, introducing the Ultimate 365 Tour Heat Apparel and ZG23 Vent Footwear. The collection features a mix of silhouettes for men and women with heat-ready and no-show technology to keep golfers cool and dry and performing their very best. Both the ZG23 and Ultimate Tour Heat Apparel are available right now on adidas.ca, the Adidas app, and at retailers worldwide. Yeah. Well, Scotty Mac, I don't know what else to say. That's about it. We do hope that you've been enjoying the podcast, listening, watching, whatever you like to do. Be sure to follow us across all social media networks, Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok. Subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts. Do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like us and click the notification bell and make sure that you never miss a single episode. Head over to flagstick.com. Lots of great content delivered there every day. Sign up for the newsletter. As always, we do appreciate you tuning in. Until next week, I am Jeff Botter.
I'm Scott McLeod.
Always remember, go for the stick.